We headed to the Cayman Islands in the Caribbean Sea. The archipelago consists of 3 main islands: Grand Cayman, Little Cayman, and Cayman Brac. Tourists and foreigners come here mainly because of the great beaches and the scuba diving conditions that make this place one of the best diving sites in the world.
Located south of Cuba and northwest of Jamaica, the Cayman Islands have an impressive marine biodiversity. On land, the population explosion on the island of Grand Cayman has reduced critical habitat for species that are threatened with extinction. This is the case of the blue iguana, an endemic species which is considered one of the rarest animals on the planet. It can measure up to 1.5 meters in length and weigh up to 14 kilos. The blue iguana can live close to 70 years, but it still has to survive in its habitat. In the 2000s, there were few more than a dozen animals in the wild. But the biologist Fred Burton has made it his mission to save them from extinction. A daunting task for a reptile that scientists have classified as extinct in the wild.
On Little Cayman, other conservation issues face the residents of the small island. Here, biodiversity issues are not apparent, but an invader has taken up residence in the pristine waters around the island. And since the islanders depend on tourism and diving, well, they are worried.
Thank you.
In the early 1990s, a few aquarium fish were accidentally released into the sea in Florida. Native to the Indo-Pacific, they began to reproduce and populate the Caribbean. This invader, which now threatens the age-old balance of the coral reefs, is called the lionfish.
In less than 20 years, this species has really caused incredible havoc. One lionfish living on a coral reef can reduce the population of other small fish from 80 to 90%.
The decline of the ocean's large predators, combined with the uncontrolled spread of the lionfish, is a recipe for disaster. If nothing is done to control the invasion, the tourism sector of the Cayman's economy is in serious danger. The professional divers of Little Cayman have watched as the lionfish spread throughout the island's waters. Now these dive guides organize a weekly lionfish hunt to try to control the dramatic expansion of the species.
The first lionfish was discovered in Little Cayman in about 2008, here on the south side of the island. And it was just one lonesome fish, and it was quickly discovered, and we went out there and grabbed it. And then we didn't see any fish for quite some time, possibly about 6 months. And then we started to see not just one, we started to see more than one popping up on different reefs. And that number just quickly escalated into tens and then into many, many, many fish.
It took just a few aquarium fish to cause one of the worst environmental disasters in modern times. The lionfish invasion continues to spread and now extends far beyond the Caribbean.
Genetically, in fact, scientists speculate that these fish could have come from common ancestors, the few creatures released off the coast of Florida. That's all it takes to upset the millennial balance of an ecosystem.
They eat a lot. Pulled stomachs out of fish and seen a large amount of fish and crustaceans, everything in their belly. Seen them hunt fish actively on the reef, and they just don't stop.
They have a foreign predation strategy, which means the fish here don't recognize it as a predator. They've got these really big, pectoral fins, and what they'll do is they'll sort of herd a fish towards the reef, right? And then they do something that's very unique. And what they do is they start to blow water out of their mouth towards the prey. And what they basically do is they point themselves right at the lionfish, and then the lionfish just sucks it in. This whole island relies on dive tourism, and we are the ambassadors to this environment, so it has sort of fallen down onto our hands to look after the environment.
The people of Little Cayman are worried because they depend on tourism. The spectacular beauty of the coral reefs and their colorful fish attract divers here from all over the world.
Each week, the population is mobilized. A squad of professional divers set out to hunt for lionfish. Their goal, kill as many as possible. Attempt to control the invasion so that other species of fish can continue to grow on the coral reefs.
The latest scientific study that's been completed this year in 2011 shows that to have an impact on lionfish, you have to have a large, concentrated effort on a small area to be effective. The industry that we're trying to protect services the Bloody Bay Marine Park, which is a small area of only about 3 miles long. So we have a high concentrated effort that we're putting into that Bloody Bay area to try and keep our marine park relatively free of lionfish so that we can maintain the biodiversity within the marine park. All right, we're going to Penguin's Leap. It's up on the north side. It's way past CCMI, so it's going to take us about 30 minutes to get there probably. Good?
Okay, great.
We have lionfish as well as the rest of the Caribbean has lionfish, and they've just invaded all of the Caribbean. Then there's going to be no difference from diving here in Little Cayman or in Cancun or in Belize or anywhere else in the world. So I think it's going to be very important that we continue killing these animals, and that's the only thing that's going to keep this special spot different than the whole rest of the Caribbean.
Marine park, we've done a really good job of eliminating a lot of lionfish to the point where we don't see them on a daily basis anymore. It's very good, but there's still lots of other parts of the island we don't get to. It's one we're going to get to right now, where there are still lots of lionfish that need to be removed. So hopefully we'll have a big turnout tonight. That they have, where they put tuna.
Even though the boat seems very busy, it's we've virtually got everyone that's left on the island to come out today to come and cull. With most of the dive masters being away for our shutdown during the hurricane season, it's very important for us to keep culling all the time. Whether it be inside the marine park or outside, wherever we get the opportunity to go, we have to go no matter what. Well, best case scenario, we're hopefully going to have a big catch. We've got 16 people in the water with 14 spears. So 14 spears, we're hoping for a fairly big number, maybe above 80. We're always hoping for 100. We have had days over 100, so we're always hoping for a big catch. Bucket. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Whose bucket is that?
Mine and well, it's actually just mine and Watsy's.
The efforts of the divers were successful, but despite their success, It is work that has to be repeated constantly because the reproductive rate of the species is very impressive. And if the effort is relaxed, the invaders will continue to eat all the other small fish, and there will be a complete degradation of the coral reef.
75. 75. You know, that's 75 fish. If you average it out to 20 fish per day that they're eating, that's 75 times 20 is how many fish got eaten within the last 24 hours.
That's a lot of fish.
That's a huge amount of fish.
The work of biologist Fred Burton on Grand Cayman is truly inspiring. With a small team, he tries to reintroduce a natural species, the blue iguana, which many biologists already consider extinct in the wild.
So what do we have here?
So these are the original things. I always knew I wanted to get involved in conservation in some way, shape or form. Even as a small child, I was crazy about that kind of stuff. In Europe, it's very unusual to find an ecosystem which has not been influenced at all by humans. And here it was everywhere, and it was a very exciting thing for me to be seeing these things. And that was the time that I started getting involved with these crazy giant blue lizards. The first time I met one, I had no idea that these things existed. In 2002, we did a very detailed survey, and it was the most depressing survey I've ever been involved in, because all of the places we used to see iguanas, there were none. Optimistically, there cannot have been more than 12 left in the wild, and they weren't finding each other to breed. So the population was doomed. It was functionally extinct, as we put it, technically speaking. They were there, but there was no future. And this was shocking to us because we thought we had time, and no, we didn't have any time at all.
Fred Burton's task was enormous. In fact, there were only a few creatures left in the wild, and many biologists thought that Fred was something of a dreamer, that the task was too daunting for a single person.
He patiently tracked down a few wild animals and began a breeding program. Today, the Botanic Park on Grand Cayman is home to the last blue iguanas on Earth, and the captive bred population is healthy.
So this is the captive facility, Jean.
Yep.
We have about 300 iguanas here. Yeah, here's one. This is, we call this one Juan Lins. He's one of our founder males. These are the original wild origin animals that we are using to represent the genetics of the original population. They grow up to 10 kilograms or maybe a lot more occasionally. Rare dominant males can get quite giant. They're vegetarians. They eat almost exclusively plant matter. They eat leaves, flowers, berries, fungi sometimes. They're very intelligent. They quite clearly are able to think ahead, make a strategy, and then carry out that strategy. We've watched this with mating strategies of the male iguanas, and it's very complex, their behavior. They're not dumb creatures by any stretch of the imagination.
It all started here, in a small incubator in Fred's house.
If we'd left these things in the ground, it would be 50-50 whether they would hatch successfully or not, because the ground could get dry, it could rain really heavily, the pens could flood. So it's much, much safer to take the eggs out, put them in the incubator here, and here we have better than a 90% hatch rate. It's a very secure kind of way of making sure we get as many baby blue iguanas as we can from those nests. When they hatch, they're tiny, they're about this long, but they grow very, very fast. And by the time they're 2 years old, they're naturally predator-proof, effectively. They get too big for the native snakes. Jean, these are the cages where we have the 2-year-old iguanas, the ones that we're getting ready to release into the wild.
Scan.
86661.
Correct.
Correct. All right, good. Let's get it in a bag.
So it will sleep there for tonight.
Yes, we'll keep them in these bags. We'll hang the bags inside our backpacks, ready to take in the morning, and they will cool down tonight, and they'll be very peaceful.
Fred Burton's great challenge now is to reintroduce the species in nature. His successes, but also his difficulties, have become famous around the world, which was what convinced the government of the Cayman Islands to set up a protected area where he can release the young animals in the wild.
But getting to the protected area is no easy task. We have to walk for hours in sweltering heat, on paths with razor-sharp rocks, not to mention the poisonous plants, cactus spines, and snakes.
So Jean, we are on the boundary now of the Collier's Wilderness Reserve. This is the protected area on our left now.
How big it is?
It's about 190 acres. That's around about very roughly a square kilometre. It's not huge, but the island isn't big, yeah?
Yeah. Rough trail, but beautiful.
Yeah, I love this environment. I think it's like a natural rock garden.
Yeah.
In 2008, we had a disaster. Some drug-crazed guy and a tame dog, a attack dog on a leash, came into the captive facility here and killed 6, 7, 8 blue iguanas. It was like a slaughter. It was crazy. And the news got onto that, and it just went like poof all over the world. But what was interesting is as soon as it went public, the population of the Cayman Islands got up in arms. There were people raising money for us. Companies wanted to pay for a security fence around the captive facility. It was in the newspapers non-stop for 2 weeks here. It was the disaster and the media coverage that made the politicians of the time pay attention a little. So what I thought was, okay, let's make the world care about blue iguanas. And then we can tell the world if the blue iguana is going to survive, we must protect some of their habitat. It took a long time to work, but it is working now. At last it is working. All right, here we go, Jean. This is our little home from home in the woods, yeah?
Home sweet home.
This is where our volunteers sleep when we have them camping out here. This is Zarko. He's here to meet us. I didn't know if we'd see him today.
That's
cool
a
creature,
big
eh?
one.
Yeah. This is the dominant male in this area. He's the biggest land animal around, so he's not afraid of us. He's not afraid of anybody. He was born, I think, in 1998, and we released him in 2001 in the Botanic Park. And he lived there very happily for a number of years, and then he got very big. And some of the people who visited got a little bit afraid of him, and it got to a point where it's, well, maybe he would be better out in the wilderness. So we brought him out here and released him with some females. His objective is to have exclusive control of as many different female territories as he can. I hatched this guy from an egg in an incubator. We reared him for 3 years, I think, in the cages in the captive facility. We released him in the Botanic Park, and then he became the guy who just hung around in our captive facility there. So we got to know him very well, and then we had to move him out here. So this is an old friend of mine. Yeah, he knows me. We have now 20 different unrelated wild iguanas, and that's good. That's enough to give us the genetic diversity that's necessary.
On Little Cayman, another expedition is being organized. This time it's Sedna 4 that will serve as a platform to reach a shoal called Pickle Bank, south of Cuba.
Researchers have wanted to come here for a long time. It's hard to get to, so local fishermen probably don't use it much. Scientists hope to find large fish like groupers and sharks here and determine whether the explosion of lionfish populations is slowed by the presence of large predators.
Hey.
Hi. I'm Savannah.
Hi, Savannah.
Such a
Nice to
pleasure
meet you.
Katie, so nice to meet you.
Hi. Hey, man.
Hey, John.
How are you?
Nice to see you, man.
Yeah. Hi, Mike. John.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Hi, Mariano.
Sedna is ready, so we should probably get things ready and leave right now.
Thanks first. Or?
Thanks first, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, here we are, Little Cayman, and here the famous Pickle Bank, where we'll be heading in pretty soon, actually. So what do you expect to find there?
We're expecting to see lionfish, but we're not sure what the population density will be. There may be a high population density, there may be a low population density, but we're going to go and find out.
And that's why it's so important for us to go there, is because nobody knows what it's going to be like there. And it's so important, you know, and it's so great to have the Sedna as this jumping off platform for us to really get out there and collect some data about a place that there is no data.
Do you think that because it's far away and that's a place where the human impact is, you know, lesser than here, do you think that we should find less lionfish than here?
Here on Little Cayman, we put a lot of effort into, you know, culling the lionfish off the reefs, getting them out of the environment. And at Pickle Bank, there's nobody removing them. So it could be that we drop down there and we find an explosive population of lionfish because there's been no human mediated removal of lionfish. But then what Neil was saying, the other side of it, is that it could be that we also haven't fished out the other large predators that would be either competing with or preying upon the lionfish. So it could be that we go there and we find a lot of these large-bodied groupers of the larger predators, and then we find a low biomass of lionfish. So there's two opposites of the spectrum that we can see, and we don't know which one it's going to be yet.
It takes us 2 days to get to Pickle Bank. And then we have to fight with the wind and waves in the middle of the ocean to get our inflatable boat into the water.
We're going to do a dive today. It's an underground seamount. It doesn't reach all the way to the surface. So it's an area that usually people do not go to. And hopefully we're going to be able to correlate it to the reefs back in Little Cayman and see how that differs.
Once arrived there, it was really strange for us because we could anchor the Sedna 4 right in the middle of the ocean. Normally it would be too deep, but as we were on a shoal, a kind of underwater mountain, we were able to anchor. On the other hand, these conditions create currents, so we will have to be very careful during the dives because for the divers, it could get tricky.
We really hope that we come up with something that we can share with the rest of the scientific community about an area in the Caribbean that's very data deficient, unexplored, and even if we can't find a high density of groupers like we were hoping for, we hope we can still bring some light to what's going on here on the seamount Pickle Bank.
$250 feet, stand by. 100 feet.
50 feet. We're on site now.
Sedna 4, musculus, musculus, 906, 906, divers in water.
When we jump in, we don't actually know what we're going to find until we get down there. And that presents challenges for us because we can start, doing the science and then all of a sudden find out that the wall drops away from us and we just find ourselves too deep.
Our transects are 100 meters long by 3 meters wide. What we're recording are the species and sizes of large-bodied predatory groupers as well as the invasive lionfish.
Seeing large fish like groupers is already a good sign.
At 25.6 meters. We are really on the wall, and if I move a bit, we'll see it going down, down, down. And whoops, it's gone. It's very deep. And as soon as I shift a bit on the wall, we're back to depths ranging between 23 and 26 meters. What we have is the Caribbean Sea, so there's a lot of fish, a lot of life. What we want to check, of course, is whether or not there are lionfish here.
The invader has managed to establish itself here. But there are many more large fish here than around Little Cayman. That is good news.
Mike has a yellow buoy, and that's what really helps me to follow them in the wave, because with just bubbles, it would be extremely difficult not to lose track of them. So I always look out for his yellow buoy. That really allows me to know where they are.
What's awesome? Some Nassau groupers. More groupers than lionfish on that dive.
Sedna 4, musculus, musculus. 948.
948.
It was really fantastic that we were able to find this reef system that had a lot of groupers and not so many lionfish. We didn't really know what to expect going in here, and although all the data hasn't been completely analyzed and we don't want to draw any conclusions too soon, it is very encouraging to see a large biomass of groupers with a small biomass of lionfish and a lot of the intact, healthy small fish. I just keep thinking how few people have been fortunate enough to be here and do this type of thing, you know?
It'd be impossible to do this without the Sedna. It would be impossible. you have to have a staging platform like the Sedna. You have to.
It's a very pristine reef, and that makes it, next to the science, also very interesting for us to dive.
Yeah.
It's a little extra benefit.
We saw less lionfish on this dive than what we expected. And it can just be because of the time of day.
You know, it's maybe good news also. You know, if there's less lionfish and big fish, that means that maybe the ecosystem can balance, you know, the invasion. But, you know, that's a big but.
That's a big question.
Yeah.
We don't know.
I've done most of my diving in Little Cayman, which is generally considered to be a quite healthy reef, but there were way more fish at Pickle Bank, and there was pretty good coral cover. We did see some coral disease, some coral bleaching, but not too much. I was struck by the amount of algal cover that was there as well as the coral cover, and it could be just, you know, it's the summertime and so the algae is in its peak growth season. I wouldn't say that it was algae dominated reef. I thought that there was overall a very good balance at Pickle Bank for sure.
For several days, we continued to dive at Pickle Bank. It's probably too early to draw conclusions, but the research has generated a lot of hope because we learned that those places that have not yet been fished still contain many large fish, large predators such as groupers or sharks. The lionfish is already established, but we wonder if the natural health of the ecosystem might not succeed in controlling the invasion of this alien species. It's still too early to draw that conclusion, but this expedition does produce a certain amount of hope. I think we really need environmental success stories. The work of Fred Burton is inspiring, but there are still many, many more steps to take. We wonder if the iguanas that breed well in captivity will succeed in doing so in the wild, for example. And will the protected habitats be enough to repopulate Grand Cayman?
All of the forces which drove them to the point of extinction are still operating. The population of the Cayman Islands is doubling every 12 years. What that means is the footprint on the land here that's taken over by humans is doubling every 12 years. And what that means is that the dogs and cats that people like to have around them will be at the boundaries of these protected areas. And cats, feral cats particularly, go wild in this island very easily. And they hunt and eat baby blue iguanas, and all sorts of other wildlife as well. But they're a huge threat to the iguanas. As the island becomes more and more urbanized, we have more and more fast traffic. And roadkill is becoming one of the big problems that we have to deal with. So we are going to have to secure the boundaries of these protected areas. We're going to have to put up some sort of a barrier that will prevent dogs and cats from getting in and will prevent the iguanas from getting out, because if they leave, they will be getting into harm's way. Jean, we will get rid of our packs here and we'll just take the iguana in. Matt, I think this one's in yours, yeah?
Yeah. Here you go.
Okay, so that's 575.
75.
That's good, so we're in here. Okay, here's the box. So now this little iguana, Jean, is a very confused animal, and he's wriggling around in here, but once we get him out, we need to give him a minute to get used to his environment. Eh? So here he is. So these beads, the small pale blue, the red, the big blue, this is just an arbitrary colour combination that is unique to this animal. So anytime I see these beads, I know that this is this animal. And, oh yes.
Whoa!
So now he will spend all night inside this box. But then all the stress of today's walk will be gone, and this will be the safe place that he stays close to. And probably for 1 month he won't go more than 2 meters away from this box. Okay, next. And the population has gone from about 12 now to about 650, 700, somewhere around there. It's very important, I think, for people working in conservation to spend at least part of their time working on things that can succeed. It's important for personal motivation, but it's also important for the way that conservation is presented to the world. People get very tired of hearing bad news stories all the time. Joel, there's a hatchling.
Yeah, that's great.
That's the first wild-born young iguana we have ever seen in this area. That would be like Zarko's baby for sure, yeah?
So it is working.
It's working. It's
great.
Working.
So spreading the news.
Yep. I'm just texting John Moreau to let him know that we got wild ones running around out here already.
It's a great day.
It's cool. It's really good to see it.
I got a text from Fred, and the text said, just saw the first hatchling in the new reserve. Breeding is successful out here, and that just made my day.
Zarko had a big love affair with Juanita, and the female we released with him. And I bet you anything, this is Juanita's baby, and Zarko is the father. I played a part in establishing this botanic park. I played a part in so many things here. It's important, and it makes you feel that you've done something for the planet. Doesn't cancel out all of the rest that's going on, but at least it's my part.
Eliminating the lionfish from the Caribbean is a huge challenge. Everyone knows that this invasive species is here for good. But how do we control it? We need a natural solution, because we can't catch all the lionfish in the oceans. Neil and his fellow divers have developed a special relationship with groupers around Little Cayman. They are training them to eat lionfish. This solution probably won't work on a large scale. And who knows if the groupers will develop a taste for lionfish. But the initiative is an excellent demonstration of citizen mobilization to stop the spread of the invader. But the lionfish is also feared by local fishermen. According to an urban legend, the lionfish is deadly.
There's a lot of myths surrounding this fish, that this fish is poisonous. It is not poisonous. It is in fact venomous. These dorsal fins are the venomous ones, and it's not actually the spike itself that is venomous. That there is just the delivery mechanism. What is venomous is actually inside the soft tissue here, and as the spine enters the body, it pushes the soft tissue back, which compresses the soft tissue, and that releases the protein-based venom, which travels up through tiny little grooves alongside the spine. And that is how, once the spine enters your body, that the venom can then enter your body as well. So something that I think is important to point out is that this is the liver of the fish. And what's interesting to note that this liver is very large. Is because these fish, which are wild fish, are suffering from a disease called fatty liver disease, which is not a fish, it's not a disease that wild fish suffer from. This is a disease that aquarium fish suffer from. So why are these wild fish suffering from fatty liver disease? And it's because they're eating too much. They eat pretty much anything they want. They're indiscriminate predators. And because of that, they're growing too fast, and they now have fatty liver disease.
Another way of stopping the spread of the lionfish may be to eat it. The flesh of this fish is exquisite, and governments are trying to convince restaurants and consumers to put lionfish on the menu.
That's great.
A consumer market for lionfish would put even more pressure on the species. But it's a challenge, because local fishermen fear the venomous spines of the lionfish. And yet, it's delicious.
Toast to a permanent lionfish culling solution.
Cheers. Cheers.
The Caymans, like many islands of the Caribbean, face big challenges. On land, urban development weakens and reduces critical habitats for many species. At sea, the invasion of alien species such as lionfish now threatens the entire balance of marine ecosystems. Citizen involvement is important, and the colossal work of Fred Burton should serve as an inspiration. These scientists dedicate their lives to the preservation of biodiversity, and we must never forget that it is this biodiversity that allows our own species to survive on this planet as well.